Hello and welcome to the Flourishing Introvert Talks with me, Jo Rawbone. This is the podcast that celebrates the natural gifts of introverts so that we can flourish in all situations. Episode 301. Network by design, not by chance. I know that networking is a topic I return to every now and again, and I do so without apology for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's because if you hold any kind of position of authority in an organisation or have business development responsibilities, it'll be part of your remit. Secondly, the mere thought of even attending a networking event fills so many introverts with dread. So anything I can do to ease the dread and offer a workable process, I'll do. Here's the thing though. We don't struggle with networking because we have nothing to say. We struggle because we've probably only been taught the model designed for loud rooms, fast talking and attention grabbing. If you've ever been expected to speed network, you'll know exactly what I mean. So take this as your timely reminder that there are much better ways to network. Ways that liberate us from that tired, old, outdated model. It's time to move beyond the idea of working the room. I mean, how sleazy and performative does that sound? And yet that was exactly what my colleague David used to teach lawyers. It's no wonder that it left introverts like me cold, because it lacks any real sense of humanity or authentic, heartfelt connection. So here is our chance to reclaim networking as a professional business practice that can be both natural and authentic. Indeed, those two things should be at the very heart of networking for mutual trust building, but we seem to have moved some way away from that original purpose. Our hustle culture focused more on winning than building understanding, trust and respect. So let's come full circle and bring it back to that as we craft a process that supports our introverted nervous systems. This process isn't about being louder or braver. It's simply designed better. So we need to start by shifting our perception of what networking is even about, so that we can design an experience that works for we introverts. Let me ask you right now, what do you believe is the purpose of networking? To meet prospects and exchange business cards? To tell people what you do and what you can do for them? To get a meeting in the diary with someone whose business you want to win? Whilst the third one is more acceptable, all of them on that list are why working the room type networking doesn't work for us. So what is more likely to work? Well, let's start with the purpose. If the purpose of networking is mutual trust building, which I happen to believe it is, we know that doesn't happen at speed over a chaotic breakfast meeting. Building trust takes time and intention. It happens in the margins of our work life during intentional conversations and mindful follow-ups, not in short, showy bursts. So this is not a single event or a monthly calendar appointment to meet a KPI. Networking is really about a series of small, consistent touch points where understanding can develop, revealing mutual interests and shared values. Approaching networking with this expectation plays to our strengths, as we much prefer building emotional depth in our relationships. And if the person you're talking to seems more aligned with the shallow breadth and speed networking, they're probably not a good connection, collaborator, or business partner for you. Knowing I had a choice because fit is important put a different complexion on networking for me. And of course, if half the population identify as introverts, there's a good chance that many in the room will be feeling just as awkward about the old networking approach. And it's so gratifying to know that your success lies not in a hoped-for surge of bravado, which, let's face it, often fails to show up on time, but that success actually lies in your ability to stay present, to listen empathically, and nudge the foundations of trust into place. We're more ready to show up authentically when we put in place small rituals, predictable patterns, and gentle consistency, so we're playing to our strengths, not following an outdated networking approach. It's time to get specific about some of the things we can do to design our experience. And the 3 that I'm sharing have been suggested by introverts in my network who have mastered networking. And you'll notice that only 1 relates to the meeting itself, and that's because building trust takes time. However, if you want more about the basics of networking, please check out episode 67 with my special guest Matthew Pollard and episode 238. Strategy 1. The simple settling ritual. In the world of learning and development that I've occupied for the last 30-odd years, I know the value of my attendees being learner ready, so that we can get off to a good start. This ritual is the equivalent because it's about helping someone be conversation ready, ready for a conversation with you in particular. This is about demonstrating your presence and inviting them to be present with you. Things that work on this front include a curiosity question, and they typically start with what. For instance, what has been your biggest takeaway so far? What is your desired outcome from today? And of course, you need to be prepared to give your answer, or even better, maybe start with it. Ask your question, share your answer to give them thinking time, and then listen to their answer. This is a really useful centering practice that reduces mental noise and invites presence as it shifts the experience from scrambling for words to arriving with clarity. Strategy 2. Meaningful follow-up without fakery. This step is typically pretty hit and miss, but in our approach, we need to recognise it as the real heart of networking for introverts. What we need is a quick and simple follow-up that takes us less than 5 minutes, but don't let the time it takes make you think it's not valuable. It goes like this. Send a short message referencing one detail from your conversation because that lets them know that the interaction was memorable. My strong recommendation is that you compile your message as soon as possible when it's still fresh in your mind, but don't send it straight away. If possible, include a relevant resource or article that aligns with their interest based on your conversation. This is a simple invitation to stay connected. I know some of us might think we're being a nuisance by following up, but you're really not. You see, when you follow up, you're laying the foundations for a meaningful relationship, and if they respond, your invitation to stay connected has been accepted. And not everyone will respond, and that's okay. Unless you're a connected introvert, you probably don't have space in your life for too many connections. Strategy 3. The monthly maintenance habit. I bet you've not heard from 80% or more of your current connections, and the same may be true of your connections hearing from you. So we need to change things up a bit, especially for those connections we're keen to keep. I suggest carving out some time once a month to keep developing the trust within your network. It's important you do this in a way that is not exhausting for either party. For example, you might choose 3 people each month to gently reconnect with through a brief check-in, a shared insight, or a supportive gesture. If they matter to you, you'll have no doubt noticed something in the business news that is pertinent to them or their sector. Think of it as taking the pulse to assess the health of the relationship. Maybe even pop it in your calendar as a pulse moment. An email, text, or if it feels appropriate, a quick call is perfect, and it serves to build a warm, active network without the pressure of constant outreach. This is how we can be consistent as we build a business network without becoming overwhelmed. So as I bring this episode to a close, I want to reinforce the point that we don't need to change how we are in order to network effectively. We need to change how we network, so we network differently. By crafting a system that honours who you are and enables you to play to your strengths, you too can become a master at networking. When you bring your unfair advantage of empathic listening, focused attention, and mindful follow-up to the process, what felt like a chore becomes natural, and that's how it should always feel. This means we can forego the bravado, knowing that our success comes from being true to ourselves and nurturing our connections with heartfelt care. The key to making worthwhile connections is to notice the opportunity in the first place, and we can only do that when we are fully present. Relationships flourish when we stop forcing and start allowing time and space to connect human to human. That's one thing we explore in real depth during the Frustrated to Flourishing program, because we flourish with others, not in spite of them. Now, before this week runs away from you, I suggest that you start to take action sooner rather than later. So I invite you to reconnect with one person during the next 5 working days. Start looking at your somewhat neglected connections now, so you have time to find something relevant to include in your reconnection message. We all like to know that someone has been thinking of us in a kind way. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, then please subscribe, rate us and leave a comment, because we know that helps other people find the podcast. And if other people find us, other introverts can flourish.
You are listening to an Intentional Media Production podcast.